Alright, so the next step is to start replacing stuff in this boat. It's kind of old, so a lot of the wiring wasn't done up properly for like salt water or brackish water. So a lot of the components were starting to corrode. And so I'm switching everything out to marine grade everything, heat shrinking everything, and changing out cables to bigger and fatter, and putting in a fuse block and all that kind of stuff. I don't really know what I'm doing, so I've done some tutorials online and read a lot about it, so hopefully I can nail it down. I started by swapping out where the battery goes and where the gas tank goes, and where the gas tank goes, it didn't have any kind of structure. Where the battery went, it did have like an aluminum structure and a spot for it, but it seemed more logical to me to put the battery closer to where all the components are, like where the driver's seat is. I built these cool little brackets here. As you can see, they have an angle to match the hull, and you got all stainless steel nuts and bolts and screws and all that kind of stuff. So this is grade 1 PVC, so it lasts a really long time. It's very durable. It's not wood, so it's not going to rot. And I'm sticking this in the back to build a nice little platform for my battery case. All right, let's go ahead and knock these babies into the back of the boat, and we'll carry on from there. Cool. Now that I got that sorted, I got some high quality positive and negative cables here. And these are tinned copper, so they're really good for marine applications. You see it's sort of a silver color rather than a copper color. That helps resist corrosion and oxidation and all that good stuff. So these are supposed to be 8 foot. So let's find out if they're not telling me a little bit of a lie. Nope, 8 foot cords. Cool. All right. Okay, cool. Now that I've got that sorted, let's go over what some of the things that I've picked up to help me rewire this boat properly. This here is a fuse block, an inline switch, an inline fuse. Got the fuse, got the switch. This will cut the power to and from the battery, and a good old fuse block. So you run the positive and negative to these terminals here. And that way you got yourself a really neat and organized way of protecting all your components. And instead of running everything to a switch, you can run it to this, and that way you can have a lot of accessories coming off of it, and you can keep it organized. And it's this one came highly recommended. It's a, let's see what the brand name is. It is the Blue Sea Systems ST Blade Fuse Block. So that was highly recommended by a guy who does electrical on boats like all the time. So, all right, well, I'm going to go ahead and determine where this is going to get mounted. Y'all know me. I can't leave well enough alone. Gotta dress it up some. But if this company wanted to endorse me, I'd leave the logo on, but since that doesn't look like it's gonna happen anytime soon, this logo's coming off. Okay, got all the features necessary to get this thing on the water, and bilge pump works, the electrics work, all the lights work, the motor runs. I replaced the carburetor. The carburetor was full of what's called varnish. After gasoline sits for a long time, it clogs it up with a really thick goo, and this carburetor was installed incorrectly. As you can see, the gasket there, when I pulled it off, this thing had been running rich for a really long time. You can see how the gasket was blocking the airflow. But anyway, swapped it out for a brand new one. Runs beautifully. Let's go ahead and check out some of these features and check out how well this little motor runs. Alright guys, come on. Really happy with the results of the motor. I pulled the old carburetor out and put that new one in. It was really easy, and I'm really happy with it. It started up like a dream. Third pull, up and running. So right now I've got it neutral. I've got the stopwatch disengaged, fuel line hooked up. Let's go ahead and pull the choke and give it a start. I got a bucket of water down here for the bottom of the outboard. Always keep your outboard in water because if you don't, you'll burn it up. But most people who run these things know that already. So we'll let that run for a few minutes, and then we'll see how she revs up here. Alright, cool. So let's check out some of the other features. So check it out. I got a homemade strap here with some brackets to hold it in place to keep the gas tank from sliding around, especially when you're trailering it and when you're running on the water. So it just keeps it, fairly secure. It's not like solid, but that's okay. Got the bilge pump. The bilge pump works. And the beautiful part about that is I built this bracket, bolted it to this structure here, and the bilge pump itself is bolted to the bottom of this aluminum plate. Now that's a really cool little feature because it keeps the bilge pump from flopping around back there, and it's always on whenever the switch is on. So if this thing starts filling up with water, it'll pump 500 gallons an hour. So if you keep it running, it shouldn't be a problem. But it rained the other day, and the bottom of the boat was full of water, and it was a good opportunity to test it out. So I hit the switch and it ran beautifully. So, and then obviously I got the obligatory battery box, all my cables running into there comfortably, and then I got the main power cables running up through the hull up to the console. So alright, so the next thing that I wanted to show you is how I cleaned up all these wires. And underneath this console here, you can see there's a fuse box, an inline fuse, which will blow before it gets to the very expensive fuse box, and then and a really nice marine switch over here. So let's go ahead and check this out and see how everything works. Looks good to me. All right. I also had this plate built. I designed it in CAD, and then I had a friend of mine plasma cut it out. And as you can see, it was kind of funny trying to get it in here because it not only doesn't match the shape of the console, it also matches the shape of the hull. So I had to kind of mess with it, trim stuff off, and bend things in different directions. But I got it to fit, and it looks really, really good. Well, that's pretty much it. She's not fancy. She's pretty bare bones, but I love it, and I'm really, really grateful for the person who gave it to me. This has been a real challenging and rewarding experience to try to rewire this whole boat and fix things that I'm not used to doing, especially electronics. And well, I stepped up and took the challenge, and I'm really happy with the results. But tomorrow, early, I'm heading out and put her in the water for the first time since I've owned it, and we'll see how she goes. All right, guys, stay tuned. This should be pretty interesting. All right. Well, today's the day. I'm gonna finally get it in the water. It's really foggy this morning. I don't know what the boat ramp's gonna be like, so I'm probably not gonna film on the ramp. Only because I gotta set up cameras and stuff like that, and that takes time. And most of the time when boat ramps are busy, other people don't want to wait around for you. You want to get it in the water, get it done, and then get moving so that they can get their own boat in the water. So, but yeah, I'm on my way, and we're gonna drop this baby in for a maiden voyage and see how it goes. All right, guys, here it goes. So everything went really well out on the water today. It was a really good idea to get out to the boat ramp really early because it wasn't very busy, but allowed me the opportunity to focus on what I'm doing because I had never done that before. This is a first timer for me. And then being out on the water, learning some things, trying to pick out the best channels to run the boat in without running aground. I did that a couple of times. Was sucking mud, and I have to be careful about that. On the way back, the boat ramp was really busy, man. I got back there at about 11, and it was like packed. There's so many people out there, and I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not complaining. It's just it's always a really good idea to set out early. So I pulled it out of the water because I'm almost out of gas, but I ran it around for quite some time and enjoyed myself, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm planning on a bigger trip. Extra fuel, things like that, food, water, spend the whole day. So for its maiden voyage, she did really, really well. I'm happy with it, and I'm looking forward to some new adventures on this thing. I got some more mods coming. I got the steering column, throttle and shift. That's on the way. I'm going to install all that. Notice that certain things like this plate that I installed vibrates a little bit, so I'm going to anchor that down a little bit better. And other than that, this boat ran really, really well. It was a lot of fun. I can't complain at all, man. It's like she did really, really well. All right, guys. Let's see what else we can get into, and we're gonna have some fun. All right.